Gold FM is #1 here in Sigatoka.
Gold FM is our favorite radio station here in Lautoka.
Gold FM is #1 in Nel.
I love listening to Gold FM in Ba.
We love listening to Gold FM, only the classic hits here in Suva.
Hear about bottled cola, you immediately think of gold. I'm Josephine Sabi and I love hearing Gold FM.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Tonight, floodwaters inundate Central Division, many caught unprepared. Nandi Weather Office warns of more to come. And storm drains fail to cope with floodwaters in downtown Suva. Bulavinaka, Fiji. As we go to air tonight, the greater Suva area, Lami, Vesari, Nausori and surrounding areas are feeling the brunt of the tropical depression affecting the eastern parts of Fiji. In the capital, Ratumara Road, Grantham Road, Ellery Street, Carnarvon Street and Milverton Road, the junction of Reservoir Road and Walubay were all underwater till late this afternoon. Most of the flash flooding seems to have been caused by blocked storm drains, which failed to cope with the heavy downpour. As of now, a number of squatter settlements in Suva, Vesari and Nasinu are under floodwaters. Some people have evacuated to higher ground, while others are staying in their homes fearing looting. Tonight, many families are scrambling to save their belongings. Our coverage begins from the capital. The chaotic Suva weather wreaked havoc in the capital city today, with some areas under floodwaters for the first time ever. While most attributed the flooding to blocked drains, the sudden impact of the heavy rains caught everyone by surprise. Indra Singh took a look around the capital city.
Flooding was evident just about everywhere in the greater Suva area by this afternoon. Properties and roads which were never prone to this situation were not spared, resulting in anger.
Oh yes, because we've been complaining every time, right? And then it's good that Suva City Council actually heard us. But then I don't know whether was there actual planning when the road development took place. But you can see all the drainage which on the right and left hand side of the road, it's all blocked.
Battling nature has become a norm for those who have faced flooding before, but for others this is their first such experience. According to DISMAC, this heavy downpour was something which didn't happen out of the blue.
The warning was issued like 48 hours before. The warning that was given, it was going to be a heavy rain warning. And then it will lead to floods because people were looking to the cyclone. And they were not expecting heavy rain because people generally out there, people are talking about the tropical cyclone developing. But from the Nandi Weather Office, they kept insisting that we will experience heavy rain first.
It may take some time to assess the damage caused.
You can't calculate anything at the moment, but yeah, it's pretty high.
The faces told the stories, and with more heavy rain forecast for the next 24 hours, the situation will only get worse.
The current situation that we are currently encountering, as you can see, there's a torrential rain going out there. Okay, this rain has contributed to widespread flooding, especially in the Central Division.
It's time for those affected to take precautionary measures and stay safe. With the high tide expected about now, more people are expected to be affected. Indra Singh, FBC News.
Wainibuka River in Sawani has this evening burst its bank, and it's likely to cause further flooding. Earlier today, numerous homes were flooded and landslides blocked roads in Naitasiri and Tailevu. Chalendau Dakadaka reports.
The village in Vuninunrobu near Sawani felt the brunt of rising water levels from the Wainibuka River. With only one pond to help people get around, transportation was a major worry for villagers.
This heavy rainfall and floods have really affected our movement in the village, especially for children, and also for those that are working, and especially the sickly who are trying to seek treatment.
By 4 p.m., the Waimanu River had broken its banks, and villages in Talevu along the King's Highway weren't spared. This is Nantaro village, where 5 households had to take refuge in the community hall to escape the rising waters. The heavy rain caused a huge crack in the road along the King's Highway towards the Verata junction. Motorists had to veer off the highway to get across before engineers and police officers closed off the portion of the road.
You can see on the picture that there's a slide on half of this road. This is Bambawade towards the junction of Verata within Vanua. So what we're trying to do is ascertain from for the engineers on the possibility of closing the road down. So far we can confirm that the authority have decided that we have to close the road down to all traffic as I speak from now.
Even at the height of the flash floods, Fijians could be seen frolicking in the water, paying no heed to warnings from the authorities. With high tide at 5 p.m, people in the Sawani area are worried that flood waters will continue to rise. Chalendo the Kazak, FBC News.
The effects of the tropical depression over the eastern parts of Vitilevu led to flooding in most parts of Navua Nasinu this morning. Mikalonga reports the heavy rains overnight made matters worse for residents who've been dealing with the poor drainage system for some time.
This quarter settlement opposite the United Apparel garment factory in Navua was underwater at around 9 this morning. The police already at the site checking on the affected residents.
It went in at 7 a.m. this morning. The floodwater got into the house and damaged groceries, TV and other belongings.
The first time it came inside my house, but before it was all the time flooded here.
The drive no good, the drain no good, can't stay here.
Flooded, you know?
Umleshwati says flooding of homes in the area is being caused by this blockage.
I'm still Nanda, 40 years finished, but town council that drain, this town council no killing him. Town council not that killing that drain, and my home is water is coming.
And down from here behind the garment factory, this is the scene. The road is under 2 feet of flood waters. This is Balgovin Road in Navua. It's been like this since 7:30 this morning during heavy downpour and high tide. The residents are blaming poor drainage to be causing this.
This new drain has caused this flood water to overflow into our homes. The drain is at the back there.
Everywhere, all the Navua settlement too like this. Down our place too. The water like this. When doesn't flood, the water going inside the house everywhere.
The water it's increasing gradually, and it happens every time. Whenever it rains, just half an hour heavy rainfall, and it starts flooding up.
Climate change. Nasino Special Administrator Moses Akama told FBC News the flash flood was caused by rubbish clogging the drains. Kama says the rubbish were thrown into the drain along Ratundovi Road, and while the Nasino Town Council cleans up the area, it's helpless at times like these. Meanwhile, this was the scene along the Suva foreshore this morning. At the University of the South Pacific, workers were trying to clear this part of the road during the heavy downpour. On Lodala Bay Road, these road workers had cleared the debris from a fallen tree that had blocked traffic earlier in the morning. The continuous heavy rain is expected to flood other parts of the greater Suva area later tonight. Mikalonga, FBC News.
More rain is expected in the Central Eastern Division for the next 24 hours, causing more flooding. Fiji's weatherman says this is resulting from the depression located between Vitilevu and Vanuatu. Akusita Tale reports.
The heavy rain experienced in most parts of the Central Eastern Division is due to the effects of Depression 15F that is sitting between Vitilevu and Vanuatu.
In the morning, it was about north of Ovalau and in between Vitilevu and Vanuatu, but now it went back north, almost north-northwest. So once the depression was still centered to the east of Vitilevu, it was bringing in all the cloud and rain smack into the eastern and central parts of Vitilevu, and that's what's caused the flooding.
Alipate Wangai de Lua says floodings in the Wainibuka Rivers, Rewa catchment and especially Navua is the result of water being dumped in the highlands, which is now flowing downstream. Meanwhile, heavy rain was also recorded in the Lau group and Kandavu, and the weather situation in the west and other parts of the group is also being closely monitored.
We are monitoring the situation very carefully in case heavy rains do come back towards the Western Division. We monitor river levels. As of now, the river levels in the Western Division are normal. Only the Central and Eastern Divisions, they are almost already bursting banks.
Wangai the Lua adds there has been no oversight to the warnings, as they had given out clear directions to the public.
We put out alerts and warnings for Navua, Lau, Nayavu and Waimanu, as well as Sambata and Waimbongi in Navua. So the warnings have been in accordance with our SOPs, as well as the critical levels breached in those rivers with the information that we're now receiving in real time from the field.
The weather office says the depression is expected to exit towards the east through Vanua Levu and over the Lau group. However, there are still chances that it could turn into a Category 1 cyclone over the weekend. Akosita Talei, FBC News.
The Navua River has burst its banks, with water now entering the Navua hospital and shops in town. Patients at the hospital have been moved to the top floor as authorities anticipate higher water levels with the high tide this hour. Navua Provincial Administrator Yakombo Wanganindrola says the water level is now critical.
Right now the reading is 3.6, and part of the water has come over to spill over the Navua town. And likewise for the hospital is being flooded and the parts of the low-lying areas.
Wanganindrola says bodies from the Navua morgue have been transferred to the Suva hospital.
Health people, they have taken the body of those in the mortuary to CWM hospital. And those inpatients are being taken to their back to their own homes, and other emergency cases, they have the operating room there, which is not flooded at the moment, which they have been using for the time being.
Evacuation centers in Navua include Vashist Muni Primary School, Jokan Memorial and Lombao Catholic Hall. After the break, Wailanda industrial area not spared by floods.
Mirchi FM is #1 in Singapore.
और किसके सुनिए यार, हमारा एक सच्चा साथी है मिर्ची एफएम लंबा साथी.
I love Mirchi FM. It's so hot. देखे में लाल लाल, खाए में हाय हाय. Tangi tawa में Mirchi FM is hot.
Here at Rugby Town, Singapore, love listening to Mirchi FM. Mirchi FM, it's hot.
Mirchi FM is #1 in Suva. It's hot.
हम इंग्लिश लंबासा में रहता है. तो क्या बताएं हम मिर्ची एफएम सुनता है.
Mirchi FM, बहुत जुलूम.
Mirchi FM, it's hot.
Welcome back. This is FBC News. Floodwaters inundated Gawia village and Wailanda in Lami. Streams and creeks in Vesari also burst their bank, catching many people unprepared. Residents believe the worst is yet to come with high tide from 5 p.m. Our cameras were out in the Lami area this afternoon, and these pictures speak for themselves. Rising water levels in the Wailanda subdivision and in residential areas as far as Jamestown. Many workers were also left stranded in their offices, unable to get home. FBC News presenter Amrita Pradashni has more from Vesari.
Everybody is packing up and trying to leave to the evacuation center at Chauhan Memorial School. The only worry that people have here is that there are some people out in numbers who are now trying to enter those houses where people have evacuated already. Myself as well, my home, we chased a few people outside of our yard as they were trying to get into our house. So right now we are in the safe zone, but we are monitoring this very closely.
The disciplined forces are tonight on standby to assist all Fijians as the Eastern Division faces the full brunt of Tropical Depression 15F. Chanel Sivan reports the government has also directed all personnel in the outer islands to do the same.
So closely liaison with the divisions currently.
The police command in Suva is ready for what lies ahead in the next 48 hours. Operations Chief Rusiate Tundravu says the public should refrain from moving outdoors.
Still, there are some people that do not adhere to the directives, warnings that are given. I have also been asked whether police will come in to arrest these people. But arrest to me is not the answer. The answer is for us to be citizens, that is law-abiding citizens, and adhere to the warnings and the directives, because it will be a burden to us.
A command center has now been activated at the Central Police Station in Suva, monitoring the Eastern and Central Division.
We have this morning contacted all our outposts. We have managed to communicate with them right to Rotuma and the Lau Islands and Kandabu. I think the weather situation seems to be experienced like the one we experienced in the Suva, and we are closely liaising with them on how they can assist the public.
Military Forces Chief of Operations Lieutenant Colonel Amani Suliano has also confirmed the military and navy have also been activated.
Military was activated yesterday. All the units are on standby now. In Suva, the 3FR is on 100% standby. Likewise, the engineers, the logistics support unit and other units are all on standby. Units outside Suva, like in Lambasa, Rotok and Nandi, are all on 100% standby, including the Navy. They're all on standby on an evacuation or sea evacuation. We are all awaiting our task from the NDMO.
The Information Permanent Secretary says health officials have also been directed by the government to assist Fijians.
We have teams on standby, we have the police on standby, military on standby, health officials on standby, DISMAC on standby. So everyone is currently monitoring the situation, and they're more than ready to move out and be deployed where they might be needed. If people can just stay indoors and stay away from swollen rivers and creeks and not drive around unnecessarily, that would be a big help. The more we've got people out in situations where they have to be rescued, it makes it harder for these people to get out there. So, yes, stay at home, stay safe, and by all means, if you're in trouble, there are numbers that you can call to the DISMAC Centre and we can get help out to you.
The public is being advised to take heed of warnings on radio and television.
I know in the islands we've got the AM transmitters working back down in the Lau group, which is very important. We have, radio is very important in this because it's so instant. TV, we have, social media. So there's information going out to a broad range of people, and it's going out quite quickly as well. So the updates, people are getting updated pretty much instantly as the information comes in.
Everyone is being told to remain indoors. Those living in flood-prone areas must be prepared to evacuate before any flooding occurs. Chanel Shivan, FBC News.
The Wainandoi Flats on the Queens Road is underwater and is closed to small or light traffic. The National Emergency Operations Centre says police are monitoring the situation at Wainandoi. Lombao village is underwater and villagers have been evacuated to the Catholic Hall. For people living in the Ngawia to Veisari areas, evacuation centres are now open at Ngawia Methodist Hall, Naivikinikini Community Hall, LDS Church, Chohan School, St. Thomas Primary School, Veisari and Montfort Boys Town, Veisari. In the Waile area in Vatuanga, Vishnu Deo School in Raiwanga is open to take in families needing assistance. In Baulevu Nausori, Muniweni and Shanti Nikitan schools have been set up as evacuation centres. 375 people in the Laila Sekau village are sheltering at the community hall. There are a total of 14 evacuation centres open, according to the National Emergency Operations Centre. Education Minister Philippe Mbole says schools in the Central Division will remain closed tomorrow. Mbole says if schools in areas outside the Central Division experience adverse weather conditions such as today, then the management can decide whether to open or close. He adds parents should determine whether to send their children to school or not. And in other news, Fijians living in the United States of America are closely watching developments back home, keenly interested to vote in the general elections. Our reporter Christopher Chand and cameraman Samuela Songoyawa are in the US. This is their first report.
It's our first day in Los Angeles, and to make us feel welcome, we were taken to meet the Fijian community.
Los Angeles, we don't have a very large Fijian community here. So it's a good thing for us to get together almost every weekend. And, we get invited to all different houses. and we try to keep in touch, keep in touch with each other here.
With elections to be held before September 30th, Fijians in the US are eager to register.
Yeah, I'd welcome that. We've been waiting for somebody to let us know what's going on. If they had the registration of voters here, it would be a nice thing. The earlier, the better. There's a lot of Fijians here. You'd be surprised. There's a lot of Fijians, All you have to do is watch the Las Vegas Sevens and you'll see all the Fijians there. They're in the thousands and thousands.
It's quite obvious the 2014 general elections will not only attract Fijian votes from Australia and New Zealand, but also from America.
I think it's a good thing for the people to have a say in what becomes of Fiji. And recently the dual citizenship opportunities, I think, is a great merit to that. I think a lot of Fiji people that leave, including myself, feel at some point that we can contribute to Fiji.
This year's elections could become a truly global attraction from Fijians all over the world, including Fijians living here in the United States. Christopher Chand, FBC News.
Sports now, and here's Jamie with the latest.
Good evening. Up ahead, Kings of Sevens Rugby hopeful of its debut at the 2016 Rio Olympics, and former world #1 golfer, Fiji's very own Vijay Singh, to compete on home soil in August. Details after the break.
Today FM is #1 here in Singapore.
We love Today FM in Lambasa. It rocks!
My favorite station in Nandi is Today FM.
Listening to Today FM. Today FM rocks in Suva.
Loto kasi they love today's kid music.
I love Today FM because they play all my songs.
We love Today FM at Wainibuka River. Yeah, it rocks!
I love Today FM because it rocks.
Today's hit music on Today FM.
Welcome back to FBC Sports. Former world #1 golfer Vijay Singh will be returning home to compete in the Fiji International at Natandolo Bay Golf Course in August. Fiji's top golfer will return to his homeland after 7 years to compete in the biggest international sporting event in the country.
I've spoken with him on several occasions, and he's excited about what this event means for Fiji and the benefits that it will bring to all Fijians. What's more, Vijay, of course, designed the Natandolo Bay Championship golf course, which we'll be playing on in August. So we're thrilled and delighted that Vijay is supporting the tournament. We'll now work with the Fiji government to ensure that his homecoming is a very special one for all Fijians.
With $1 million as the top prize money up for grabs in August, other world-class golfers are also expected to participate. However, organizers remain tight-lipped on who they will be. Two of the greatest players that have played sevens rugby are excited by the potential growth of the sport in Olympic host nation Brazil ahead of the 2016 Games. Former Fiji star Waisale Serevi and England's Ben Gollings saw firsthand the excitement and appetite for the game, having spent 2 days coaching youngsters new to the sport. This is all being done in the build-up to sevens rugby, making its Olympic debut at the 2016 Rio Games.
We believe with Ben that rugby, it will grow up and it will get bigger from now onwards. The reason is it's been part of the Olympics in 2016, and a lot of countries are taking it seriously. And the impact on countries that don't take rugby seriously, they are tending to find ways to try and teach their kids that rugby is a sport. It's been played globally. That's what we are based in the US at the moment, trying to do that, trying to give another opportunity to kids.
The Telecom Fiji Warriors left our shores today and are now in Australia ready to compete in the Pacific Rugby Cup. The 30-member squad will take on 8 teams from Australia's Super Rugby franchises, Force, Brumbies, Waratahs and Reds. They will also play against Junior Japan, and for the first time the tournament will also include the Argentina Pampers 15. The Warriors play its first match against Reds A on Sunday in Ballymore. That's it from Sports Tonight. Stay safe. Good evening.
Severe weather in the Central Division had caused the cancellation of Pacific Sun and Fiji Airways flights today, as fueling and passenger operations were affected at Nausori Airport. Flights between Suva, Lakemba, Lambasa, Nandi and Funafuti have all been cancelled. The Nandi-Rotuma and Rotuma-Nandi service for tomorrow has also been cancelled. Pacific Sun is planning supplementary Suva-Lambasa and Lambasa-Nandi services tomorrow, subject to weather conditions. Two tropical depressions, Jen, what can you tell us?
Jackie, this is a very critical time for the Central Division due to Tropical Depression 15F. I don't need to tell you that it rained heavily today because that would be an understatement. The extent of the rainfall was immense, with Lauvala Bay recording 107.7 millimeters since 9 a.m. today, Navua 92.9 millimeters, and Matuku a massive 310 millimeters. The lowest temperature was 27 degrees in Ba, followed by Suva at 28. Savo-Savo and Lambasa are still fairly warm at 32 and 31 respectively. Now that strong wind warning is still in force for all Fiji waters. Winds are forecast at 25 to 30 knots, gusting to 45. Seas will be quite rough with moderate southeast swells, so mariners, please take heed. And here's a few other people who need to take heed as well. This was caught on camera by our cameraman Shone at the RSMS grounds in Nambour, Suva. Need I say more? We'd like to keep all threats of danger at bay as much as possible, so it would be better if you stayed indoors and listened to our 6 radio stations instead. Just a reminder that it's better to be safe than sorry.
Thanks so much for that, Genevieve. Recapping the headlines, flood waters inundate Central Division, many caught unprepared. Nandi Weather Office warns of more to come, and storm drains fail to cope with flood waters in downtown Suva. This week's poll question, are Fijians taking the dengue outbreak seriously? Visit our FBC website to take part. Remember, you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via Facebook page FBC News. And if you're on Twitter, follow and tweet us your news tips at FBC News or simply hashtag FBC News. And on that note, stay tuned to FBC News and all our 6 radio stations for weather updates throughout the night. And wherever you are right now, please stay safe. Till tomorrow, good night.
Ito singa to kung tali ta na warong na radio Fijian na station yal motua.
Ako na koro na tali ta. Mandau tali ta gini na warong radio Fijian.
Kitong isu untuk tali ta na warong na radio Fijian station yal motua.
Kito tali ta na radio Fijian. Na radio Fijian ento tali ta kita nga sintoka. Station di Matino Pinatia na radio Fijian kwa beyan.
Na Radio Fijian nandu mai biti na ponga ni BNN.